It's impeachment. Impeachment 2, day 2. Big whoop. I am not going to pull apart the entire day one and break it down and hit the high. I'm not going to do that. First of all, I am not going to dignify this absolutely, completely sham of a fraudulent, unconstitutional process. The fact that Mitt Romney and 5 other feckless wimp rhino Republicans voted to allow this farce to proceed tells you all that you really need to know. And at some point, these rhinos need to be sent a very clear message. See, President Trump ran under the assumption that if he won, that even the divide within his own party would rally because it would be their party, the Republican president, would be in the White House and he would be able to get some things done. But you think back to the beginning of his presidency, and he was not only having to fight against the media narrative, he was not only having to fight back against the liberal Democrats on Capitol Hill, he was actually having to fight his own party. He got zero support from Paul Ryan. There was Mitch McConnell was backroom dealing behind his back. He had an attorney general that literally, went completely AWOL, and that allowed the collusion farce investigation to go on and drag on and lag on for 3 years. He gave out orders for things to be done that were virtually just ignored. The intel community saw their commander-in-chief, the president, duly elected president sitting in the Oval Office as, well, a problem. We can't do what this man wants done. And so it was just hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. You know, one thing you should be observing from the Biden administration, you are seeing what the real use of power looks like. 52 executive orders, and he's been president, sworn in since what? It's been 20 days, 21 days. This is beyond unbelievable. It's been 3 weeks, and he has already issued more executive orders in 3 weeks than any other sitting president in a full term. He is governing by decree, and this is all systematic. He is firing staffers left and right. If Donald Trump were doing that, it would be national news every day. How dare he fire this one? How dare he fire that one? Biden is firing everybody, and the media just sort of reports it as a news blurb and moves on as if, well, this is what administrations do, especially at the Justice Department. They let one team of lawyers go and they bring in a team of lawyers that they will believe that will represent them and their policies. When Trump tried to do that, oh my word, it was like urinating on the flag and the Constitution, and it was just awful. So we see this glaring double standard, and you have these Democrats, they just push on. They don't care what we're saying about them. They don't even care if polls are turning against them. They're just doing what it is that they do. And they do it with a heavy hand, a closed fist, and like it or not, they really don't care. And you've got Republicans out there trying to get the media to like them, write nice things about us because we're reasonable. Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney, this ilk needs to be absolutely purged from the Republican rolls. They just do. Look, if you're pipe dreaming about starting a third party, forget about it. The way things have been so structured here, literally now going into centuries, that's just not going to happen. Democrats and Republicans, the one thing they do agree on is how to hold on to their influence and power, and there's absolutely no way that a third-tier candidate, even if he were managed to get himself elected somehow, he would have absolutely no platform from which to govern from. So, you talk about the Patriots Party, stop. What we really need to do is just hijack, take over, and clean house in the Republican Party. It's really simple. Hashtag rhinos out. That's it. That's what we need to get going. We need to make sure that these people like Mitt Romney and what's her name, Liz Cheney and Gail Murkowski and the rest of this ilk, that they get primaried and they are gone, done, over with. First thing that has to happen is you have to have a takeover of the Republican Party, which, by the way, I believe that is exactly what Donald Trump is doing. He had Twitter today release a statement saying that even if Donald Trump were to be elected president again, he will never again be allowed on Twitter. So what? I think right now they've actually done him a favor because he is operating quietly. He is in stealth mode. They really don't know what he's doing or what he's up to, and I think that's freaking him out a little bit. Because to be honest, the way that the Democrats have any kind of energy whatsoever, even among their own base, is somehow they have to turn Trump into the boogeyman. And that's what this whole impeachment scam is about. It is about crushing him, destroying his legacy, making sure that neither he nor anyone from his family or anyone else that holds to what we call the Trump doctrine, the Trump ideals, the nationalist, populist, America first, that becomes a hated concept in this country. That's why we are being targeted now, once again, by the intel communities, loosed by the Biden administration, empowered and weaponized to find out who these extremists are. And basically, an extremist is anybody that's ever worn a Trump hat or had a Trump flag or Trump sign on their lawn and voted for Donald Trump. We're now the extremists, and we need to be either re-educated or purged. Make no mistake about it. That's what's coming. That's what's happening. So what we need to do is, rather than try to do something, just incredibly dumb, like reinvent the wheel, no. Just take the Republican Party away from these feckless wimps, these rhinos. And Donald Trump is quietly laying the foundation, building his own. One thing, if he learned anything on the job, he realized that when he got to Washington, there was an apparatus in place that he was not a part of that would not allow him in. And a lot of these career politicians, what they bring to the table when they get to the level of presidency is they bring, first of all, they know all the dirt on everybody. And they have their own little private team together that's ready to do blackmail against members of Congress, members of the Senate. If they don't go along with the president, here's the dirt, here's what we're going to do to you. See, Trump didn't have access to any of that, didn't know any of that. He didn't have, forgive me for saying it this way, shadow operators from which to draw from. President Trump moving toward 2024 will. You can believe me when I tell you that right now there is a quiet group being assembled, being built, being amassed, and they are at work right now. And that's really one of the other reasons why the Biden administration is now trying to root out any Trump-type people from the military or the police. And we need to push back hard on that. We need to be loud and make sure the American people know exactly what's happening. The liberals right now are almost an orgasmic celebration that Rush Limbaugh could die at any moment. And they believe that when he dies, that talk radio is dead, it's over. Conservative radio over. Conservative media outlets, they've kicked us off YouTube, they've kicked us off Twitter, they've just removed us. What they've done is they don't realize the backlash that's mounting and building, and we are going to come back stronger, bigger, badder than ever. And I don't mean that in a volatile way. We need to work smarter, not harder. We need to win the minds, the intellect of people. And the way we do that is to be smart as we move forward. So this whole impeachment sham scam is about crushing the legacy of Donald Trump, making sure that neither he nor any of his family ever run again. They need to trash everything that he did. Why? Because what they are doing is systematically destroying the country right now. They are killing industries, and I have another monologue in which I'm going to talk about that. They are killing industries right now, and you just give it a few months when people start really feeling this in the wallet. When they start feeling this at the gas pump, when their jobs really start to go away and they stay away, and America realizes that there are good manufacturing jobs that were coming back, have been re-exported back to places like China, the American people will begin to wake up and realize what's going on. The only play the Democrats have is to somehow convince people that it was much, much worse under Trump. So we trump up all this hogwash about insurrections and this and that, and he was doing this and he was doing that, and of course it's all bunk, it's all lies, it's all bullhock, but it's all meant to give you Trump fatigue. Just Trump fatigue. You don't even want to hear his name anymore. That's what this is all about. And they want to go on with this little scam because they really don't want the Republicans. I'm sure they don't even like the fact that Mitt Romney has sided with them. They want this to be a partisan vote. They know there's nothing there to remove. I should say, you can't remove him. He's already out of office. There's nothing there to impeach the president over. It's non-constitutional. He's a private citizen. You don't even have the Chief Justice there. So this whole thing is a farce. They know it. But what they want to be able to do is continue to invoke the name Trump. It's good for fundraising. It gives them some sort of relevance because they know when they have to get down to the actual business of governing and people are no longer distracted by the bread and circuses and they begin to see what's actually going on, they know that's not good for them come midterms. So that said, the only thing I will discuss about the impeachment process where the Trump attorneys on day one did a great job flipping this back on the Democrats, talking about their rhetoric.
These aren't just niceties. I make no apology for demanding in your name, in the name of the Constitution, that the rights to due process guaranteed under the Constitution are adhered to in a process as serious as this. In our national lives, the denial of due process in this case, of course, starts with the House of Representatives. In this unprecedented snap impeachment process, the House of Representatives denied every attribute of fundamental constitutional due process that Americans correctly have come to believe is part of what makes this country so great. How and why did that happen? It is a function of the insatiable lust for impeachment in the House for the past 4 years. Consider this.
I want to say this for Donald Trump, who I may well be voting to impeach.
Donald Trump has already done a number of things which legitimately raise the question of impeachment.
I don't respect this president, and I will fight every day until he is impeached.
That is grounds to start impeachment proceedings. Those are grounds to start impeachment. Those are grounds to start impeachment proceedings. Yes, I think that's grounds to start impeachment proceedings.
I rise today, Mr. Speaker, to call for the impeachment of the President of the United States of America.
I continue to say, impeach him! Impeach 45! Impeach 45!
So we're calling upon the House to begin impeachment hearings immediately.
On the impeachment of Donald Trump, would you vote yes or no?
I would vote yes. I would vote to impeach.
Because we're going to go in there, we're going to impeach the motherfucker.
But the fact is, I introduced articles of impeachment in July of 2017.
If we don't impeach this president, he will get reelected.
My oath requires me to be for impeachment, have an impeachment hearing. He needs the scarlet eye on his chest.
The representatives should begin impeachment proceedings against this president.
It is time to bring impeachment charges against him. Bring impeachment charges.
My personal view is that he richly deserves impeachment.
I'm here at an impeachment rally, and we are ready to impeach the...
The relevant timeline in the House reveals the rush to judgment. On the day following the January 6th riot, the House leadership cynically sensed a political opportunity to score points against the outgoing then-President Trump. And the Speaker demanded that Vice President Pence invoke the 25th Amendment, threatening immediate impeachment for the President if Mr. Pence did not comply with this extraordinary and extraordinarily wrong demand. 4 days later, on January 11th, 2021, the instant article of impeachment was introduced in the House. Speaker Pelosi then gave the Vice President another ultimatum, threatening to begin impeachment proceedings within 24 hours if he did not comply. Vice President Pence rejected Speaker Pelosi's demand, favoring instead adherence to the Constitution and the best interests of the nation over a politically motivated threat. On January 12th, Speaker Pelosi announced who the 9 impeachment managers would be. And on January 13th, 2021, just days after holding a press conference to announce the launching of an inquiry, the House adopted the article of impeachment, completing the fastest impeachment inquiry in history and according President Trump no due process at all, over strong opposition based in large part on the complete lack of due process. To say there was a rush to judgment by the House would be a grave understatement. It is not as if the House members who voted to impeach were not mightily warned about the dangers to the institution of the presidency and about our system and to our system of due process. They were warned in the strongest of terms from within their own ranks, adamantly, clearly, and in no uncertain terms, not to take this dangerous snap impeachment course. Those warnings were framed in the context of the constitutional due process that was denied here. Consider the warnings given by one member during the House proceedings, pleading with the other members to accord this decision the due process the Constitution demands. This is Representative Cole of Oklahoma. With only 1 week to go in his term, the majority is asking us to consider a resolution impeaching President Trump. And they do so knowing full well that even if the House passes the resolution, the Senate will not be able to begin considering these charges until after President Trump's term ends. I can think of no action the House can take that is more likely to further divide the American people than the action we are contemplating today.
Boom, shakalaka, boom, baby. Hey, that's it for this rant. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and a like. Share this to your social media platforms. And don't forget to check us out on Rumble. There is a link below. Make sure you check us out on Rumble.